Hello and welcome to Neverwinter Nights 2, Storm of Zehir, henceforth just known as Storm of Zehir. And this will be the setup kind of thing video. I completed the original Neverwinter Nights 2 campaign using a favorite soul, and while I did enjoy the character, I didn't enjoy the gameplay of the character, which meant an awful lot of buffing before most fights, and I found that rather tedious. So for the natural expansion of the original campaign, Mask of the Betrayer, I decided to play a monk instead. But I've already covered the monk quite a bit, so shortly after the beginning of the expansion, I decided to replace the monk with a ranger. And of course, that turned out to have its own issues because the ranger has no talky skills as class skills, meaning no diplomacy, no intimidate, and no bluff. Considering how many checks there are in both the original campaign and the expansion regarding diplomacy, bluff, and intimidate, it just fizzled on me because there were so many options that I couldn't choose because of no skill in those skills. So I've made the decision to reset that series completely. But instead of just taking a new character and plug in where I left off with the ranger like I did previously, as I said, have decided to reset that expansion completely, or the coverage of that expansion completely. But it dawned on me that in all the time I've owned Neverwinter Nights 2, I've actually never played Storm of Zehir at all. I got 2 physical copies which I can't install because of course copy protection on CDs and DVDs is not exactly something that goes hand in hand with modern systems. So I had to buy the Platinum Edition on GOG, which is the one I'm recording from, in order to play it on a modern system. But despite that, the original game was released in 2006. As I said, I have never played Storm of Zehir. So, because of the uniqueness of Storm of Zehir, it builds on the normal gameplay of Neverwinter Nights 2, but it adds a few twists to the formula. First and foremost, you create a party of characters, not just one. Actually, you create 4 characters that you play. And it has a different way of approaching questing and that kind of stuff. There is an overarching main story quest, but any side stuff is handled incredibly different from the normal game. So I was thinking, why not play Storm of Zehir? That would give me 4 characters I could take into Mask of the Betrayer, even though I have already made the decision which of the 4 it will be. I have predefined the 4 characters, and I have made sure to have their leveling predefined as well. So when they level up, it's just a question of leveling up, placing skills and feats and all that kind of stuff. But because it is meant, because the characters were meant as single player characters to be taken through either the original campaign or Mask of the Betrayer, they are all built with a single character concept in mind. So the 4 characters I have created, there will be some skill overlap. One thing that Storm of Zehir allows for is that you build 4 characters with very, very different skill sets so they can support each other. But I had already made the characters long ago actually, and I'm going to put them together in a party and see how that pans out. The skill overlap is going to be a minor thing because ultimately the whole point is to play through Storm of Zehir, have a character to take into Mask of the Betrayer. So let us do a new game. I need to create the first character because I had done some changes to my concept of the first character. But we will select a new game, new campaign. Neverwinter Nights 2, Storm of Zehir. Official campaign. The voyage across the southern seas is cut short by a mysterious storm. Your party finds itself shipwrecked on an unfriendly shore. To survive, you and your fellows must accept the aid of a powerful merchant and unravel a conspiracy that threatens to change the fate of the realms. This bold journey goes to level 15 and beyond. Previous Neverwinter Nights 2 experience is not required. Recommended for one player. That will be the campaign we will start. And I will be creating the first character because, as I said, I remade the concept of the character very recently. A natural party leader for me would be a paladin. I know paladins are getting a lot of flack for being a weak um, base class, but they just need a bit of help, and then they are doing perfectly fine. Paladins can only be lawful good, suits me fine. And of course, they need it easy because they are getting their spell from a divine power. And I mean, Tyr is the obvious choice. Hades is the even-handed, the main god, the just god. Alignment, lawful good, portfolio justice, favorite weapon, longsword. Cool. Then we hit the recommend button. That will give us some general stats. And you always want to try and get your primary stat for your character class as high as possible. Um, in the paladin's case, it's strength, charisma, and wisdom. But of course, you can't fuel all three stats to a high level. Charisma is the stronger of the two, because while strength will add to your to hit chance as well as doing extra damage, charisma will power the duration and outright damage of certain of your abilities, and it is generally considered to be the strongest stat for a paladin to level or increase. I think it's called. You need the wisdom. You need wisdom 10 plus whatever spell level you end up with, and paladins have access to level 4 spells. So 14 wisdom, it's much better to have it from the start, so you don't have to think about it. Constitution 14 for 2 extra hit points per level up, always good. But I want an extra skill point. So I'm going to allow myself to take a hit to dexterity. In his younger days, he fell off the horse and got a slight limp or something, I don't know. But it made him a bit smaller. He knocked his head and became a bit smaller in the process. So then we can select a background if we want to, and no background and all that good stuff. One background that I have been toying with a bit is natural leader. You give your companions a +1 to attack roll, and you take one to all your saving throws, which is a bit expensive. But depending on how many melee characters you got around you, it could actually be beneficial to take the -1 to saving throws just to give them better to hit chance. But no, while I don't normally select anything from a pure game mechanic point of view, ladies man, +1 to listen, which I don't care about, but +1 to diplomacy. A -2 intimidate. He's never going to try and intimidate anyone or anything, so it's not a big hit. There's going to be some sly comments about the fact that he has that trait, but it's a pure gameplay thing, nothing else. We want to customize because we don't want to have the wonky setup of skills. Concentration is only useful if you're casting spells in melee, basically, and as a paladin, you don't want to do that. Most of them are buffs, so you cast them before you go into combat. I was toying with either craft armor or craft weapon and decided that I wanted both, because that makes them independent and not relying on finding either good armors or good weapons if he can craft them himself. Diplomacy, it's a given. It's fueled by charisma, and we are going to continuously stack charisma his entire career. So his diplomacy skill will be rather powerful. Normally, I would go for heal, because not so much because of the healing itself, which can be very beneficial at low level, but more the fact that it can cure poison and diseases. This character will become immune to disease by leveling up, but poisons and diseases have negative impact on characters' stats if they fail the saving throws, and being able to heal them with just a healing kit can be very, very powerful and I think underrated. The downside is, of course, that when you get characters with 300 hit points, then a healing kit doing 50 healing is not going to do much. But yeah, you can't win them all. We're going to go for law even. Two reasons for that. One of them will become apparent much later. And then we need to choose some feats, and there's a lot of nice feats, but there are two feats that are, or there's one feat I would say that is critical for the paladin, and that is power attack, because it gives access to divine might and divine shield, both which are divine abilities which allow you to add your charisma modifier to either your damage or your armor class. And again, because we are going to be stacking charisma, it makes perfect sense to go that way. That is the only thing I will use power attack for. I don't like attack even. I don't like taking a penalty to hit in a hope to do more damage. Characters which focuses on strength and big two-handers, power attack is amazing for them, but it is only meant as a prerequisite. I hate having to blow feats as prerequisites, but that's the way it goes. But that's one thing, and this is one thing that human characters allow you to do, almost for free. The background traits. They can only be taken at level 1, or specific classes and cleric domains will give access to some of them. But Log of Heroes. Characters gain +1 bonus to all saving throws, as well as +1 luck bonus to armor class. That +1 bonus stacks with everything that stacks on regarding armor class. And +1 to saving throws is just gravy. This is a trait that will benefit you from day one. From the first moment the character set foot in the world, he will benefit or she will benefit from Log of Heroes. It is hard not to take it because you gain so much benefit from it. But we are also going to go for he's going to be a sword and board character, if you're ever wondering. So we are going to do weapon focus on longsword. And we're going to give him a name, and as I've said a million times in other videos, and Gallagher is the name I use for if I can spell it. I'm typing in the dark, bear in mind. That's the name I always use for paladins. He's not going to have a surname because I can't come up with something that sounds funky. He's not going to be 18 years old, he's a bit more experienced than that, so let's say 25. And then, of course, we need a voice for him. And I quite like this one, even though it's a bit rough and tumble, whatever. Even right, see. Yeah, well, can't hear it now, but you will likely hear it soon enough. It's something that happens, I don't know why, but suddenly the game disables all sound, and it will come back as soon as I go into the game itself, so it's just a temporary thing. But let us finish off creating this character and get the campaign started.
Well met, friend. I've got some bad news. I guess that's hardly surprising given the other bad luck that's happened the last few days, but anyhow.
It seems like a few pages somehow got torn out of the Vigilance Passenger Manifest. I'll need you to sign the manifest again for you and the rest of your party. Have a lot of unusual things been happening on the ship. Here and there, some of the food we took on at the last stop was spoiled. A number of our drinking barrels got ruptured. And just a few nights ago, Callan, good man, got himself drunk and pitched headlong overboard, sunk before we could save him, poor soul. But don't you worry, Vigilance been through worse in the past, and we'll be at Summergulls shortly, so we can get new supplies there, fix some problems. Okay, I will. Well, I doubt Umberly means to take it easy on us, but don't worry, the Vigilance weathered far worse, as she said before. And the tutorial thing is just going to mention the party creation thing. I will be pausing the game.
Look alive, you lubbers! Passengers on deck!
Because of this, because it plays through, or it keeps playing whatever dialogue they have, which is cool enough, but not when you're trying to focus on what you're doing. Bear in mind, we can level up. This game starts your party as level 4.
Steady on, Neural!
So let us pause the game now, and should be able to. No, okay. Unpause and then repause. After we've done the register your party thing. I will pause now. Party name, the adventurers. Yeah, why not? Should we come up with some funky cool name for party if I can work that out within the next 15 seconds instead of spending 25 minutes on it like I usually do? A dozen is 12, so that would be 33rd of a dozen. Something like that? Yeah, sounds about right. Party motto, adventure or bust. We could come up with something fancy. The concept of this party is going to be to you take the hand that is offered, or you face the sword. In other words, we are going to try to be as kind and gentle as we possibly can, but if anyone we deal with will not take that, then we will fight them. It's just the way it works. MC slot. Okay, the game suggests that you have a fighter type character, a rogue, a cleric, and a caster of some damage dealing capacity. I have already pre-arranged that party. Garrett, which is a rogue, and his name is inspired by a very specific character. And of course, because I like inspiration, I just took the name Garrett. Cleric. We have a cleric here called Tricia. And then when it comes to wizards and wizardly character types, I always use for good characters, I use the name Malaga. So I will add him to the party as well. And then we will accept this party. It doesn't line them up in the order that you pick them, but that's just the way it works. So let us do a very quick rundown, because I'm going to cut leveling them up, but I'm going to show the result of it, because the leveling is going to be a bit convoluted for some of the characters. You were present at the creation of the paladin, so let us
Get in line. Follow me.
Look at the rogue. He's not going to be a sneaky rogue, he's going to be a stand up and fight rogue. So all the sneaky stuff is going to be ignored. He's going to be able to spot and listen and all that kind of stuff because, well, just because he can't sneak doesn't mean he wants others sneaking around him. So being able to detect other sneakies is usually a good idea. He's mainly there for disabling traps, unlocking locked doors, chests, and things like that, and of course doing some sneak attack damage.
Yes?
I used the sultry voice set for her. Just want to make sure with him.
I believe so.
Indeed.
Yes?
Yeah. I just like that voice set. Anyway, she's a cleric. She's going to be an offensive caster, but because of the fact that clerics, even though you memorize damage spells, can spontaneously convert any spell memorized to a healing spell of a similar level, you can get away with just memorizing damaging spells and then spontaneously convert them if you so need. And then of course,
You have need of me?
Malagar, who is a wizard, and he's also an offensive caster. I could have gone with a sorcerer, which certain people consider to be more cool, which I suppose they are to a certain point, but I wanted a character which was very, very intelligent, and of course he will be stacking intellect. So I will do a quick cut while leveling, and then we will look at the characters once leveled, and then I will finish this part after that and use it as a sort of teaser for Storm of Zehir. So, leveling up completed. Let's quickly go through them. I don't want to do this have this part being too long, because I already spent a good bit of time creating the character and explaining a few things. The Paladin, he is a straight up Paladin level 4.
I would say yes.
Should probably just keep it there. The character of the Rogue, even, which again is a Rogue Fighter. It's going to be an incredibly convoluted way to level this character up, because I want to give him some fighter levels for some proficiencies, I was about to say, some feats. But because of course the fact that rogues gain an obscene amount of skill points, and you can only store 5 skill points between levels, the only way I could work this out was to do rogue, then fighter, then rogue, then fighter. And because I need 4 fighter levels with them, it's going to be 3 rogues, 3 fighter, 4 rogue, 4 fighter. So it's going to be a bit wonky donkey. To quickly show skills, you can see the ones he's got high rank in: craft weapon, disable device, that is a necessity, but because his last level up was the fighter level, is only 8. It will be capped out once he gains the next rogue level even. Hide is purely from dex bonus. Law, open lock, which is normally useful. Search, spot, tumble, and use magic device. Feat-wise, quickly, weapon finesse and weapon focus rapier, so you can likely imagine where he's going, and he's got the disarm skill, so you can disarm opponents.
Oh, yes.
The cleric, skills-wise, concentration, spellcraft, and where is it? Diplomacy. Those are the 3 skills she's going to be using the entire run of her career. And of course, finally we have our wizard.
Yes.
Feats. Spellcasting prodigy can only be taken level 1. Skill focus, concentration, and skill focus spellcraft. It may seem bizarre to certain people, but those in the know will likely know why I've taken those two specific feats. Skills: concentration, craft alchemy, craft armor. I did say there was going to be some skill roll up. Craft weapon, law, and then we have spellcraft. And that's it for this character for the moment. So, in between this part and the first official part of this playthrough, I will have make sure to have memorized some spells, because as soon as we go through that door, it's going to start the actual campaign. So I hope, indeed, I hope you found this remotely interesting and will follow me on my own personal journey through this standalone campaign of Neverwinter Nights 2. I played a very tiny bit of it to get a feeling for it, and to determine whether it's something I would take further, and I enjoy what I experienced, but I'll get around to that in the official first part. So as for now, thanks for watching, take care, see you then, bye bye.